Hey everyone, it's John Wright from Overlanding and Robotics, and today we're installing a new Mishimoto radiator in the GX. Okay, so why am I changing the radiator in the GX? It's because I was doing a regular oil change and I noticed that we had a little bit of red fluid coming down on the cross members down below, and upon further inspection I've got a weeping radiator. So it's not terrible, but it's something that's got to be addressed. And so the options were, of course, to replace the radiator with a stock Lexus, or we can go take it one step further and upgrade this part, which is what we're going to do with the Mishimoto all aluminum radiator. If you notice that on these guys here, they are plastic on the sides, and my research indicates that people claim that those just aren't going to hold up as long as you could get one, with aluminum, full aluminum. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. I've never seen a video made on this for the GX, so bear with me and let's hope it all goes smooth. I just want to take a minute and thank the folks at Mishimoto for sponsoring this video. They sent me a nice little swag bag sponsorship, and let's open that up and see what's inside here. We got a nice little air freshener, a cozy, got your letter, some decals, look nicely on the truck, some pamphlet of information, and looks like we got ourselves a nice little lanyard. Okay, so just want to thank everyone at Mishimoto for helping make this possible with the % discount on the product. We did buy the product, okay, so but it's at a discount, and we appreciate all the help that we got from Mishimoto to make this happen. Thank you. The first thing you're going to need to do is remove some of the plastic. Let's take off the cover, okay, off the engine. Just kind of set that off to the side. And I've already loosened up the bolts here, and there's plenty of videos on how to do this, but you're going to need to remove your grill. So let's take that out. Okay, when you're inside here, now I've got a different bumper on. I've got a hybrid bumper, but even if you don't have that, you could have a different model, different year bumper. It also might have a difference in the grill. If you have a 2014 and newer GX, mine is a 2010, so 10 through 13 should be the same. You're going to have to access 4 bolts, okay, that hold this radiator in place. The first 2 are easy to see. They're up here. Here's the one on this side, and there's one on obviously the other side here. And then there are 2 down that you got to access. This is harder to see, but down through this cross member, there are bolts, okay, that come through that opening. And I'm just going to show you here. This is what it looks like. So this bolt is going to come through the front end, and it's a 12 millimeter. And on the back end, you're going to use a 13 millimeter to hold it. And you will need probably an extra set of hands to get these out, which we did. We've already taken ours out. So you're going to have to put your hand down through the back end and kind of find out where that is, but down deep in there, okay? Once you get those out, and that's a little bit of a bear, okay, but not terrible, as long as you have help. Then what you're probably going to need to do is, I missed a spot. I got to tell you, you got to have to remove these plastic pieces, these diverters, okay? These go on either side inside the bumper, and you got to kind of snake them out. They just kind of snap into the frame here, okay, into the grill, and the air conditioning lines will come through here, okay, on the different pieces. And it's flexible, so it's possible, but there's this cross member that what I did was to make it easier on myself is that I disconnected this, and I just kind of snuck that down on top of my winch you could just kind of rest it down inside your bumper. Now you've got another 2 inches of clearance in there to be able to remove that. So this is very important, because if you don't take these out, you will not be able to get your tool in there, your extended wrench, your socket set, to get onto this. So that was probably a little bit of engineering time just to kind of figure that out. Otherwise, you would have to take off the entire bumper, which is the other option. And I just elected to avoid that since I have this custom work here already. Okay, the order of the operation that we're going to attempt here is we're going to first remove the overflow. And I've already loosened up the bolts on this. Then we're going to attempt to remove the shroud, which is right here. It's, again, a little loose. And we will then assess to see whether we need to remove the fan blade, which I'm assuming that might have to come off. And last but not least, we're going to try to remove the radiator up after we, of course, drain it and remove the lines off of it. But that is the basic premise. I am also going to, just so I don't forget later, is I'm going to, right before I remove this radiator, I'm going to put a piece of cardboard between the radiator and the air conditioner condenser here in the front, so that I don't accidentally poke a hole in it. There was another video made by another gentleman, and I'm sorry I forget your name, but thank you for the tip. And I'm going to follow with his suggestion, because he did pierce it, and we don't want to end up making this a bigger project than it needs to be. Okay, it's time to drain the radiator. So there's a peacock on the back side, straight up above here on the driver's side. And if you need to loosen it up, okay, you can grab a pair of pliers and just kind of give it a quarter turn, and then it's just plastic, so be careful. And then you should be able to just kind of, I've already taken off the shroud underneath here, the guard. You do, or some people say you don't have to take that off, but I think it's just as easy. I always take it off when I do an oil change. So I'm just twisting it out. Eventually here it comes. Oops, okay. We're going to let that drain into the pan. So once we have the fluid drained down below, and I've now put the peacock back in, I'm going to remove the hoses. Turns out that in order to get the shroud out, we're going to have to take the fan blades out. So to get to the fan blade, it's just going to give me more room if I take these hoses out, the top and the bottom one. And I have replacement hoses that I bought online, so we're going to swap those in since we're already in here. Okay, so this is a tool that was recommended on other videos. It's a flexible hose clamp, and we're going to use this to help us remove the big hoses. You may need to score these if they've been on your truck for a while, like mine has, these hoses. This is the upper arm. I didn't care about this, the upper hose, because I'm going to replace it with new ones. So back, you could take the brackets and slide them back off of where they were connecting the hose to the radiator and to the engine, and then take your knife or maybe an X-Acto blade, score that, and then grab yourself a pair of robo grips or a pair of pliers, like what I did, and just kind of peel it off and kind of give it a little bit of a yank in order to make that loosen up. But I'm going to save these brackets. Don't forget to save those, because we're going to need those unless you bought new ones to go back in. Hey everyone, it's the next day, and we ran into a little snag last night. It got a little late. We did get the shroud out and the fan out, but getting that fan out wasn't quite as easy as we had hoped. So turns out that there are 4 of these nuts that hold the fan on, and in order to get the last one off, because you have to hold on to something to keep it from moving, you're using the other nuts. So the solution is to go down to AutoZone, and they will give you a free rental if you put a deposit down. This is a universal fan clutch pulley holder, 57-270, and this does the trick. Okay, you use this guy to clamp on to 2 of the studs while you loosen up the last nut on the last remaining stud. And then your fan will come off, and you'll be able to then sneak out that along with the shroud at the same time. Okay, so we have all the hoses disconnected with the exception of one, and it's all the way down here on the driver's side. It goes to the transmission cooling lines, I believe, and it wouldn't be hard to get to it. The only issue I have is that whoever put the clip on that holds the hose on, to access, to squeeze it together, it's on the opposite side. I just can't get the tool around there. So that's the problem that we are now looking at, but I've got a solution. A little bit of help. Okay, out with the old, in with the new. Make sure when you put your new radiator in that you have the M just as you see it now. Otherwise, it would say Mishimoto. Don't forget to take the isolator bushings from the old one if you don't have new ones, like I'm going to do, and transfer them to your new radiator. Okay, when you look at your bushings to make sure that they're good, make sure that these are in good shape. And they're a little dirty, but that's because we take her off-road. And also make sure that the upper ones have that little catch, the little hanger up on the top. You'll notice the position of it when you remove your radiator before you transfer them over. Once you have your bushings transferred over and they're on your new radiator, don't forget that if you want to make it perfect, you want to put the seal in. These on the old one, you can see they're mounted on each end. So this is the new part. You get these from the Lexus dealer. I think you could probably make your own just by getting the parts down at Lowe's or Home Depot, but these weren't very expensive. I'll put the link, the information down in the description below. Radiator's in. Got all 4 isolation bolts all mounted and tightened in. We just finished putting on the transmission coolant lines down here onto the radiator. Now we're looking at the larger, the lower and the upper tubes that go to the engine, the main coolant lines, and we're going to replace those. We didn't buy new ones for the bottom transmission lines. We used the existing, and they seem to be in good shape. But we did buy new tubes, okay, for the upper and lower. So that's going to be the next step. It's going okay. It's a little bit of a bear to kind of put these on the new radiator. This has quite of a lip on it around the edge to get the hose on, and to get that little spring fastener, the clamp, hose clamp on, was kind of a challenge. It took a little bit. That's why we didn't film it, because all our hands are busy. But we got it in there, and it looks like everything's coming along. The next step will be, of course, we're going to put the big pieces in, and then we'll be looking at tackling the fan and putting that back in with the shroud. Yeah, we're at the stage now where we're about ready to put on the reservoir. The fan is in. Okay, we got that back in place. We have yet to put on the hose, okay, for the upper hose for the radiator. We saved that for last so we could get in where the fan is. We're going to do that tomorrow because it's getting dark. But we're gonna, before we retire tonight, we're gonna put on the reservoir, and I've already started this by hand, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start tightening these things down. There are three, if you remember taking it apart, there are three 10mm bolts. Make sure you keep track of the retaining clips that are in your shroud. We had one fall out on us. We had to take a look for that. Okay, there's one. Okay, I'm going to do the other easy one, which is up here. Whoop, I'm going to need my box end for that one. Yep. Okay. Here we are. Whoop, which way is that? Look at that. Snug up here. Oh, wrong way. This way. There we go. Okay, that one's snug. And we got one down below. The Mishimoto comes with its own, by the way, hardware. So I reused the upper, but the lower one down here, we used the one that Mishimoto gave us. Okay, that's on there good. Okay, once you get your reservoir installed, you got to put the hose back on there. So I'm just gonna snap that on, and then snake your, oop, I got that in the wrong spot, right here. Snake it on the little clips and plug that on, and you're all done. Day 3 for us on this project, but we have not been continuously working on it. We had some bad weather, we had some trouble trying to find the right tools at one point, so it's okay. Just plan accordingly, you know, if this is a do-it-yourself kind of project. What we're going to do last here is we're going to put the top tube on here, the hose that connect the engine to the radiator, and I think then we're ready to fill it. So that's what we got planned this morning, and see how that goes. When you're ready for coolant, make sure you pick up some that is ready for your Lexus. Should be the Asian vehicle red-pink fluid. Truck is running. We've got about 2 gallons of coolant that we used in it, just shy of that. We've already ran it up to temperature and then let it cool, open the cap up, topped it off again, and I'm going to drive it to work and then I'll check it later, but we should be pretty close to being good to go. One last thing that you might want to know is that if you put in the new radiator, will your plastic cover here fit? And it does. Just right over the cap. I just leave mine in here like this. You can put your little secure push pins in there if you wish. I just leave mine like that, so I have an easy access on the trail. But works great. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks. If it isn't my biggest fan.